Good morning, my miracle friends. So we've got one sentence from chapter 1, section 2, which is all about miracles and revelation and timings and what have you. You are free to believe what you choose, and what you do attests to what you believe. I'm just going to put this slightly differently. You are free to believe what you choose, but what you do actually shows what you really believe. So the first part of this sentence sort of emphasises freedom. Yeah, you've got free will. You're free to believe whatever you choose. But the second part of this is quite deep and emphasises radical honesty with yourself. What you do attests to what you believe. So there's no amount of blah 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 saying what you believe. Your actual behaviour will say it all. So as the expression actions speak louder than words say, what you do, how you behave, is an outpicturing of what you truly believe deep down. So the Course in Miracles is saying that your actions are far more interesting in terms of how they reveal your actual beliefs more reliably than any stated beliefs. And in the Course in Miracles, it's repeatedly distinguishing between what we say we believe and what we actually believe. And quite often there's quite a big difference between those two. And when we're talking about the correction of erroneous thinking or the correction of perception, it's in that little area between what we say we believe and how our behaviour shows what we really believe. I mean, a perfect example would be, I don't know, you might say, I believe in a higher power, or I trust God, and yet you spend parts of your day or most of your day in anxiety or fear or trying to control everything and controlling behaviours. So your behaviour is actually witnessing a belief that you don't really trust God and that you alone are responsible for your own safety. So from the Course in Miracles perspective, it wouldn't condemn us for thinking that. It would simply say, look honestly at what your actions are teaching you about your current beliefs. So this is quite introspective, isn't it? And it's one of the Course in Miracles' central practices, using your reactions and triggers to discover your hidden unconscious beliefs. So every time we get triggered, or every time we have an unpeaceful, reactive behaviour, we said this before, we said it a million times before, this is like a big orange arrow pointing to where you need to go next with your evolution. That is, if you want more peace and you want more joy in your life, we have to be like hawks on ourselves, and we have to be watching ourselves with a combination of brutal honesty and at the same time radical acceptance for what we discover about ourselves, and these would be our personal blocks to love and peace. So another example, imagine you become angry when criticised, which is quite a familiar reaction, isn't it? So the anger itself points to a belief that your worth depends on other people's opinions. So the anger itself isn't exactly the problem, but it's revealing that underneath all of this, you have a belief that you need other people's opinions of you to be good, to feel validated. And you can be as blustery, I don't care what anyone thinks, I do what I want, blah, blah, blah. You can say all of that. But then if you become angry or if you personalise a criticism you know there's a bit more to it under there. So in A Course in Miracles, every time we're upset, it is welcome and it is sort of diagnostic. It's the next thing to look at. Like a pain in the body, we'll diagnose a problem of inflammation somewhere. So each time we're triggered, this is like exciting news as it's information, and this is being revealed. And when I was editing this text, I was in Texas, as you all know. As soon as you see the map behind me, I'm still in Texas, with one of my sons accompanying him for a couple of weeks as he sets up his USA division of his logistics business. And so each day I found myself to be super anxious to please him and to relieve him of some of the stress and to make sure that I'm a useful member of his support team. And it was literally totally disturbing my peace. I just couldn't relax. I couldn't relax until I'd helped him in some way. And if I hadn't helped him, I would feel this anxiety building up inside me again. And one day I had a terrible migraine with visual disturbances, and he asked me to drive his great big truck, oh my God, to the warehouse to pick something up. So this is the first time I've driven such an enormous big truck, and never driven in the US before, but I had to do it to help him. And I was in such a panic, I ended up going up the wrong road in the wrong direction twice. Now, luckily one time there was no one coming the other way, but another time, the second time there was someone coming the other way, he was like honking at me and what have you. I just wasn't thinking clearly. I just wasn't, because I was in such a panic to try and be useful and try and be helpful. So here am I going on about love and light and open hearts and saying, you know, where would you have me go? What would you have me do? Blah, blah, blah. And the day that I'm called on to go somewhere and do something, I'm in like a total panic. And the driving was okay after a while, but I was more in a panic of letting him down, and I was doubting myself. You know, I was thinking I'm an absolute incompetent fool. I'm getting in everyone's way, and I was creating a whole lot of unnecessary suffering and mind games. Oh my God. And I recognised this was a familiar pattern. And I had a very strong realisation that I only feel worthy if I'm useful in some way. And I have to like sing for my supper, and I'm only as good as my last 5 minutes. And this fear of imminently falling from favour at any moment, which of course is conditional love, isn't it? It's not unconditional. And I don't feel like this when I'm alone, which is probably why I love being alone. I'm quite happy being pointless and purposeless in my own company. However, because I was doing this lesson and the hidden beliefs underneath, and that your behaviour and your actions speak louder than your supposed belief systems, I just sat with it and I thought, I only feel worthy if I'm useful in some way. And bit by bit that just started dissolving, and it started not being really true. It was like there was a truer truth that was revealing itself. So it went from conditional, anxious, fear-based unworthiness unless I'm useful, and I'll only be loved if I'm, being superwoman. And then bit by bit it started dissolving, and it just became a sort of very loving, quiet knowing and peaceful that I am here to love, and I am here in the name of love and in the service of love in whatever way that is. So I don't really know why I'm here, but I feel completely calm again. And that sort of, I don't know if that belief system is gone now or whether it will rear its head up again sometime, but it definitely dissolved when I sat with it and I was honest with myself. So, as Carl Jung would say, until you can make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. may consciously believe one thing while unconsciously believing another. So when your true beliefs match your true feelings and match your self-image, and therefore your outer behaviour reflects all of that, and you're in alignment, you feel good. The more congruent you are, the more authentic and at peace you feel. And sometimes we're just not congruent about what we say we believe and how we act. And this incongruence or disharmony puts enormous strain on ourselves. I mean, I can think of a quite relevant example to myself. Let's say about weight loss. I want to lose weight. So I repeatedly say I want to lose weight, I want to lose a few pounds, I want to lose a few kilos. And yet repeatedly I will turn to food for comfort. So the Course in Miracles would say, what belief is the eating serving? Now, why are you eating? You say you want to lose weight, but then you're overeating. Well, not always overeating, but do you know what I mean? I must have a deep belief that food keeps me safe, or food is love, or deprivation is dangerous, or pleasure is scarce. I don't know. The behaviour is not evidence of weakness. It's just evidence of a different belief to the one you think you're saying. I don't know why I'm going so complicated on this lesson today, but that's what's been coming to me. It's a bit long, isn't it? Have a lovely day, wherever love takes you.